I'm J.R. Church. Welcome to today's analysis of the news. From Jeremiah chapter 30 comes these words, verse 3, "For lo, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith the Lord. And I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it." And then a few verses later in verse 7, he says, "For alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." Jacob's trouble, the tribulation period. Is it upon us? Well, we know that verse 3 has been fulfilled, at least the part about bringing his people home to their ancient land, and they're possessing it. Now they're about to lose half of it. And this may be a part of Jacob's trouble. For we learn in Revelation chapter 11 that half the city has been given, half the Temple Mount and consequently half the city of Jerusalem has been given to the Gentiles, and they'll trod the city underfoot for 3.5 years, 42 months. And so here's a bit of news from the press. And this press says Israel draws red lines for Obama on Iran. Israel prepares a set of red lines for Washington to inject into its Iran policy as the current U.S. approach toward Tehran rankles Tel Aviv. The Israeli Foreign Ministry and defense establishment have been working together to formulate a set of red lines for the newly established U.S. administration of President Barack Obama. Goes on to say the talks are liable to be perceived by both Iran and the international community as an acceptance of Iran's nuclear program. The red lines push for the U.S. to put a time limit on the talks in an effort to prevent Iran from buying time and completing its nuclear development. Israel also wants the U.S. to, quote, formulate an action plan with Russia, China, France, Germany, and Britain regarding what to do if the talks fail. And Prime Minister Ehud Olmert said, and he was quick to send out this warning signal to Tehran, quote, "We are a strong country, a very strong country, and we have at our disposal military capacities, the intensity of which are difficult to imagine." And then he said, "We have deployed enormous efforts to reinforce our deterrence capacity." Quote, "Israel will be able to defend itself in all situations, against all threats, against all enemies. I cannot say more, but believe me, I know what I am talking about." That comes from the outgoing Israeli Prime Minister. Well, that's one reason why they're a little bit timid to go ahead and proceed with this. They don't want to be seen as exploding weapons of mass destruction. Here's another article from the Jerusalem Post. Israel seriously considering military action against Iran. This comes from March 5th, 2009. Israel is seriously considering taking unilateral military action to stop Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons, according to a report by a top political figures, U.S. political figures and experts released Wednesday. The report also says Israel's time frame for action is growing shorter, not only because of Iranian advances, but because Tehran might soon acquire upgraded air defense missiles and disperse its nuclear program to additional locations. The report, entitled "Preventing a Cascade of Instability," was put out by the Washington Institute for Near East Policy. It also argues that international sanctions against Iran need to be intensified urgently for the engagement of the Obama administration, the Obama administration is planning with Tehran to be effective. Many Israelis fear that a declared U.S. guarantee could come at the price of circumscribing Israel's freedom of action in confronting these dangers. And one other note here, Clinton's got a message for Israel. This is Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Here's her message to Israel. There is no escaping Palestine. U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton Tuesday told the Jewish people in Israel they have no choice but to lose their historical homeland to the Arabs. There is, she said, no escaping the two-state solution. She said, quote, the road ahead we acknowledge is a difficult one, but there's no time to waste. She said, the United States will be vigorously engaged in the pursuit of a two-state solution every step of the way. And, of course, the U.S. has laid out $900 million to get its program up and running. This is aid to the Hamas. Yes, to the Hamas and the people in Gaza. Clinton spent the day Monday at Sharm el-Sheikh pledging $5.5 billion financial aid to the Arabs who have dedicated their lives to establishing a state on Jewish lands at Israel's expense. So the $900 million is just a drop in the bucket. It's $5.5 billion that we're going to be giving to the Palestinians. Addressing the News Corps, Clinton said, quote, we are committed to a two-state solution. I feel passionate about this. It's not just part of my portfolio. Well, Israel is going to face the time of Jacob's trouble. When, we don't know for sure, but it looks like it's just around the corner. The next few months may tell the tale. Watch as Obama goes to the Middle East, goes to Europe for 3 special meetings, one with the meeting of the G20 in London coming up the last of March, first week in April. And we'll see what happens then, because just a few days later in Jerusalem is Passover. So, what's going to happen? Well, we don't know the future. But we look at the prophecies of the Bible, and our conjecture is that something incredible is going to happen in Jerusalem on Passover this year, so keep your eyes open for it. I'm going to the hospital now for my 9th treatment with Emperor Ming's ray gun, and tomorrow is the last of the radiation therapy treatments. Expect that these 10 treatments over the past 2 weeks will completely destroy the 2 tumors that are in my liver. We'll keep you informed. Meanwhile, keep praying, will you? I feel good. I have had little side effects, just a little rawness in swallowing. I guess it's kind of burned my esophagus a little bit. But keep praying for me, and I'm sure that the Lord will see us through until we hear the shout and the trumpet sound. I'm J.R. Church. We'll see you again tomorrow with our analysis of the news.